First, tell us your name.
My name is Sue Wilson.
And what is it you were giving a speech tonight in Madison, Wisconsin, but I'd like to talk to you about media and the things we were talking about here tonight and how it relates to Michigan. So first of all, what is, you have a movie, and just tell us, our readers, the name of it and what it's about, basically, real quick.
Broadcast Blues is a media reform documentary that goes through the history of broadcasting and shows people what has gone wrong with our broadcast media.
So there's as I was understanding from the movie, having watched it, there's a correlation between how people vote and the media in a specific areas across the country. Did I understand that right?
Absolutely. I mean, as we start looking at the influence of right-wing talk radio, which permeates about 95% of society at this point, I mean, only about 5% of the entire country get to hear any progressive thought on the radio. We are seeing that there's been a shift in the voting patterns. Absolutely. I mean, why do you think the Tea Party and Scott Walker and all these people are thriving? Because there's a drumbeat of propaganda and people are no longer able to differentiate between fact and fiction.
So in Michigan, we have, in the Detroit area where I'm from, we have WJR. They have Sean Hannity, they have Rush Limbaugh, they have Frank Beckman, they have a whole slew of conservative talk radio. So what can we do in Michigan to challenge what's going on and maybe change what's going on in Michigan, in the Detroit area?
First of all, I think that I want to direct people to MediaActionCenter.net, where I give specific instructions. But the most important thing to understand is that the public airwaves belong to the public. These broadcasters own a bunch of equipment, and they own a license to operate over our public frequencies, our public airwaves. If there's a catch, though, if they do not serve our public interest, they're not supposed to get to broadcast anymore. So the first thing is to clearly own those airwaves, clearly understand that we, the people, own the airwaves. These corporations do not wish for us to remember that, but indeed, we do own these airwaves, and we have power. It's going to take understanding that and then defining what we want from our local broadcasters. Too often, we just think that we're being spoon-fed, and actually too often we are being spoon-fed. But I think it's time now to start addressing the broadcasters personally, knocking on the broadcasters' doors and saying, hello, broadcaster, these are our public airwaves, and this is the list of things that we as a community want and need from you.
So in Michigan, we could even go to WJR, for instance, and say, we want 5 minutes, we want one show, we want one liberal talker on WJR in the next year, 2 years. Could we make requests like that?
Absolutely yes, because it's kind of like being a landlord, okay? These corporations are essentially renting the airwaves from us. But we have been absentee landlords for way too long. It is time for us to start going back and taking ownership of this property that we own, these public airwaves, and saying, this is what we want.
And you mentioned something interesting as far as the Citizens United decision, in that the candidates, when they make a commercial in the political season, which we have coming up, they can lie as much as they want.
Right.
But if the Koch brothers or if a special interest or one of these shadowy groups does a commercial, they have to tell the truth, and if they don't tell the truth, we can complain about their ads and have them taken off the air. Did I understand that right?
It's actually called the Zapple Doctrine, and no, I'm not making this up. What it is that if a third party is paying for an ad, the TV station or radio station, but usually TV, has a choice. They can take that ad, or they don't have to take that ad. If they choose to take that ad, if that ad is lying, the broadcaster, the TV station, is liable, and we can sue them for those lies.
So really, to make the changes we're talking about here, we need a bunch of volunteers. We need people to monitor the radio and television stations, especially, you mentioned, looking for any kind of incitement to violence, because that's something the FCC will go after.
That is something that we believe that we can force the FCC to take a license away, and it's also something that we believe we can publicize to such a degree that we can create the groundswell that we really need to pressure the FCC to do their job.
So that's one area. So we need volunteers to monitor the stations. Who else? And we need people to lead the effort for media reform in a particular state. And as I understand, looking at your chart a few minutes ago, Michigan's TV stations and radio stations will be up. The filing date to file a complaint is June of 2012 for radio and June of 2013 for television stations. And we only have that opportunity once every 8 years, as I understand it.
That's right, and I'm not clear on those specific dates because I don't have them in my memory bank, but what I know for sure, and I'll put it up online so you can have it for sure, once every 8 years, we've got this opportunity to really complain about these radio and TV stations. Only once every 8 years, and yes, those deadlines are looming.
And so your websites are Sue Wilson Reports.
SueWilsonReports.com.
Okay, and any other sites? The Media Action Network?
MediaActionCenter.net.
And any other websites or blogs that our readers should know about?
If you go to MediaActionCenter.net, there are 3 that are linked there. TellFCC.com, our public airwaves.com, and
here know something about?
under MediaActionCenter.net, we have TellFCC.com, ourpublicairwaves.com, and boycottsponsors.com. But that's way too many things to remember. So MediaActionCenter.net is the umbrella that'll get you there.
Okay, thanks a lot.